I'm NBC Connecticut meteorologist Rachael Jay. Here's a quick check on the tropics. Let's talk about the headlines first. We're keeping an eye on Hurricane Nigel. Not expecting too much from Nigel as far as direct impacts. Then we're watching an area that's going to develop off of the Carolina coastline. Looking at some coastal rain with that one. And then there's also another system in the far Atlantic that we'll have to watch, far eastern Atlantic that we'll have to watch as well. So here's the high-res satellite as of Tuesday afternoon on Hurricane Nigel. You can see that moving kind of to the north and west. But again, this is not going to cause any direct impacts to any land areas, so that is definitely good news. A 90-mile-an-hour hurricane moving north-northwest at 16 miles an hour. But watch how Nigel is going to curve back off to the north and east and then eventually back off to the north again. It's going to weaken after it strengthens. So it'll strengthen over the next day or so, and then it'll really accelerate. You see just how far away these icons are from one another. That's indicating that the storm will strengthen in its forward movement. Now let's talk about the system off of the coast of the Carolinas. Right now, within the next 7 days, it has a 30% chance of becoming at least a tropical depression. But we will still need to keep an eye on this system because it's going to bring impacts. Looks like it's going to skirt pretty close to that eastern Atlantic coastline, the coast of the East Coast in the western Atlantic. It's going to move off to the north and then curve back off to the north and east. So we will see some impacts along the Eastern Seaboard from this system. Really, it's looking like more of a coastal rain event. And that just really depends on which computer model outlook that you look at. Some areas maybe bring it a little bit farther out into the ocean, meaning less impacts, less rain for some of those coastal areas. So you're seeing upwards of an inch, inch and a half. It's best in most locations. But when we look at a different computer model output, it has quite a bit more rain. We're talking about upwards of 5 inches possible between Tuesday afternoon and heading into Sunday afternoon as the system again moves to the north and then eventually to the north and east away from the U.S. coastline. Another thing we'll have to watch out for is wave heights. Now, again, Nigel out there is going to stay out there. For us here along the eastern coast of the United States, we will start to see that system developing probably later on in the week, and then going toward Friday morning, you see how we're starting to see some of those higher wave heights. We've got the legend here at the top of your screen. That's going to, again, push off to the north along with that system, and you see some potential for some wave heights up to about 20 feet or more. That's going to scoot up the Delmarva, heading up the mid-Atlantic, and then eventually up toward Long Island. By Saturday morning, some of those wave heights close to Long Island, 12 inches, upwards of, 12 feet, or areas over 12 feet are possible, even upwards of those 20-foot waves before the system starts to push away, possibly weakening just a little bit as well. So we'll keep an eye on that system over the next few days. Whether or not it gets a name, we're still probably going to see maybe some wind impacts, some rain impacts from that as well. And then in the eastern Atlantic, this system has a 70% chance of becoming at least a tropical depression. That's within the next 7 days. The next name on the list, if this were to gain a name, would be the O storm, Ophelia. So far we've gone through 14 names, but there have been 15 systems. We had a subtropical system that developed early in the year back in January. So far we've had 15 systems that would have had partial tropical characteristics, 6 hurricanes and 3 major hurricanes, and the season goes up through November 30th. So if you're interested, you can find me over on social media for more weather content. We're keeping an eye on the tropics here at NBC Connecticut, so make sure you're following this page for more updates as we head through the rest of hurricane season.